What's up, creeps? It's Jason. Of course, this is Riley from Rigor Mortis Masks. And guess what today? What do we got? It's alive! Alive! That's right. Oh, man, you did better than I did, man. That's right, guys. Oh, man, I've been waiting for this one. The 98 Don Post reissue Karloff Frankenstein's Monster mask. And this is part of the calendar reissue.
Yep, 1998.
Which we just did the Mole Man. This is our last mask morgue. And which I'm starting to fall in love with these things. And it's amazing. So before we jump into this real quick, before you start spitting your geek knowledge of masks and all this good stuff, let's talk about the man. That's right, Boris Karloff. Now, you've heard of Boris Karloff doing many Universal roles. He's done, and then of course Frankenstein's Monster. There's been many people who have played it, but Boris was numero uno. He was the first, right, from the 1931 Frankenstein, which was produced by Universal Studios. Man, he was the very first to don the makeup and roll with it, right? You know, he also did Bride of Frankenstein, which was 35, and I think Son of Frankenstein, which was 39.
Yep.
And then in 1944, he was in House of Frankenstein, but he was not Frankenstein's Monster.
Dr. Neiman.
That's right. He was Dr. Neiman, and he actually, that's when he gave the role up to Glenn Strange, which we might see that mask down the line as well. So
maybe next week.
Oh, wow. Okay, there we go. Yeah. So let's talk. This is all about Boris today, man. This is amazing. This is cool. So what am I looking at here?
All right. So this is our 98 calendar reissue.
Yeah.
They only made 250 of each Frankenstein because there were two variants of the mask. The mask that had one variant came in 500, but to recap the history that we went over on last video, if you did not check it out because you don't like the mole people, I'm gonna abbreviate the history. In the 60s, Vern Langdon and Don Post, they teamed up to make the Hollywood horror masks, and then Universal loved them, and they made Universal horrors. Then Jim Morris, the publisher, who came to the studio and saw the 11x14 photographs that Vern Langdon had hung around the studios, was like, I want to do something with these pictures. And he's like, you might as well make a calendar. Yeah. They made the calendar in 1966. That's when these were referred to as the calendar masks. Then, like 30 years later, 1998, all the baby boomers who wanted these masks wrote letters and reached out to Don Post Jr. and asked him, I washed cars, I mowed lawns to afford these masks back in the 60s. And they couldn't do that because $30 to $40 in the 60s was astronomical.
Ridiculous. It was well over $100.
Unattainable.
Yeah.
And
Who's
most
got
of
that
them
money?
have crumbled up since. A few are film filled out there, but nearly impossible to get because the big dogs have them. And so they reissued these puppies, cast them super thick.
Yep.
They're cut to look like a wearable mask, but they aren't. They are way too thick to put on your head. And so, yeah, that's
We've tried. So, yeah, which is cool. I really, and like you said, the thickness of this, maybe we'll get a cutaway shot on just all these calendar masks. I mean, they're ridiculous.
This sucker is standing up on his own right now.
Which is awesome.
No bags are in this guy.
It's like a collector's dream right there, you know? So,
stand on his own. Awesome.
Beautiful paint job, beautiful hair job on this thing. It does come with, hold on, I'm coming off camera, jumping back up, the actual box. I'm going to put it right in front. It does come with the box, guys. And the box is super cool because it's got all the calendar masks on the back.
All of them, but let's see, we got 12 there, so it's missing 3 of them.
Yeah, okay, we are
missing Lugosi, the Mad Doctor, and I believe the Hunchback on there.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think. Oh, I guess you're right. All right. Yeah. So, which is pretty cool that like the Mole Man you had last week didn't have a box. This one has one. I'll put it off because it's too big.
Yeah.
I want you to see my ugly face. So, once again, they're in this mask line. I mean, double check. So there's 2 Frankensteins. You have a Glenn Strange as well, right? So out of these 2, I know we hadn't done the Glenn yet, but from Boris and Glenn, which one's your favorite, man?
As far as masks?
Yes.
Oh, man. That's like picking between Pieces and The Burning. It's like they're both my babies, you know? I love the Frankenstein's Monster, and Glenn Strange and Karloff are obviously the best portrayals of the monster ever.
Yeah.
I'll fight any of you who disagree because I know I'm right.
Yeah.
And this one he's the OG. This one is actually based off of Son of Frankenstein, and you can tell because he has a bunch of clamps. but it's still the Karloff Frankenstein monster.
Oh, is that how you can tell? Actually,
Yeah.
Up top, huh? Okay.
Yeah, because in the first film he just had this clamp right here, I believe. So.
And then Son, which was I said like 1939, which was actually 8 years after the original Frankenstein came out. Okay, cool. So they kept kind of modifying him. I don't remember. I can't remember off the top of my head what he looks like in Bride. Is he OG in Bride or?
So in Bride, he looks like part 1, but his hair is a little burned up and patchy in some spots, and I believe he has one more clamp on this side of his head.
I got you. Okay.
I believe that was what they changed.
Yeah. Well, look. I mean, they did an amazing job. I'm looking at this thing. The paint on it is incredible. Yeah. The sculpt. Forget it. It's great, dude. Yeah. It's just
Pat Newman.
Yeah, Pat Newman did it. So, what a classic mask. And now, I think, as a mask collector, if you don't have a Frankie, what are you doing, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
every collection has like definitive masks. You need a good skull.
Yep.
You need a good witch.
Yeah.
You need a good Frankenstein. You know, there's like definitive masks for every collection, and I think this Frankenstein is one of the best representations of Karloff in clay form.
Yeah.
And well, mask form. But
at one point, clay form. Yeah.
And I think this is one of the best representations of Karloff's actual face.
Yeah.
And every Frankenstein needs a mask color. I just messed that up.
Every collector
needs a good Frankenstein. There we go.
He's tongue-tied.
This is what
I'm Dr. Frankenstein. This is my monster.
Yeah,
right
I'm a
here.
monster.
So all right. In English terms, don't grunt on this, right? All right. What would, if you had this on eBay and it has the box, this is pristine condition,
and tag,
and has the tag as well, what would I be looking at? How much money am I shelling out to get one of these beauties into my hands?
These Karloffs I see going, for the last couple of years, they're between $500 and $600 with the box. Whoa. I spent $600 on this guy, but he's like, to me it was like one of the most important ones to own.
Yeah.
Because it's the Karloff Frankenstein monster. He's the pivotal monster in horror history, you know?
100%.
And I found this guy at Monster Palooza. I was perusing around, and this old geezer had these model kits and stuff.
He probably wasn't. He's probably my age, by the way.
No, he was a lot older than you. And behind his table, he had 3 boxes, and he had a Calendar Phantom, a Strange, and this Karloff. And I already had a Phantom and a Strange, and I was just like, I want that Karloff. He told me $600. I whipped it out of my wallet and handed it to him. I was like, that is beautiful.
Hey,
paint is
I would have done too, right? Yeah. Right then and there, went and got it.
So beautiful.
So there you guys go. You're paying up to about $600 for this thing, but well worth it. This, it's thick. It's going to last forever, man. Yeah. Well, not ever, but it's going to last you a long freaking time, right? Especially taking care of. So there you guys go. The Boris Karloff Frankenstein's monster from Son of Frankenstein. Thanks for that. I did not know that, 39. Right? Definitely a definitive piece in your collection, and we're getting closer to getting all these calendar masks.
I'm working on it.
We're happening.
I promise.
We have a line on some auctions that we're like, ooh, all right. So that being said, guys, let's go ahead and close the Mask Wars doors. It's alive!